Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Gordon Frayne. We are back with another video. Today, we're talking about BitTensor TAO, Barry Silbert, and his new company, Yuma, backing a whole bunch of different subnets in the BitTensor ecosystem. As always, if you enjoy the content, please make sure to smash that thumbs up button below, hit subscribe, hit that bell notification icon, and don't forget to grab your completely free copy of The Rise of Bitcoin, linked below this video in the description. Grab it now. And let's talk about BitTensor. Okay, so first and foremost, who is Barry Silbert and why does he even matter in the context of BitTensor and everything that is happening? Well, Barry was a very early investor in Bitcoin going all the way back to 2012, and he created the DCG group, which we'll look at in a moment, to essentially help bring Bitcoin to the masses during the period from 2014 through 2020. He was, I guess you could say, credited with helping to expand the adoption of Bitcoin with DCG and ultimately Grayscale, which he founded as well. And so many of you know that Grayscale Investment Trust was one of the quote unquote original Bitcoin ETF issuers. It was set up as a trust initially and was almost acting in, under the guise of being a Bitcoin ETF before the official Bitcoin ETFs got approved. And then it was ultimately approved as one of the Bitcoin ETF issuers going back to January of 2024 when we got those initial round of approvals. So Barry was the founder of Digital Currency Group. If we jump over to DCG, again, you can see they describe DCG as enduring the investor and operator of the crypto industry. And again, hopefully the context here that you're starting to understand is the fact that Barry was investing in Bitcoin since 2012, 200 equity investments with Digital Currency Group, 50 plus fund investments, 30 plus token and digital asset holdings across 25 countries. And DCG and Digital Currency Group is kind of like the parent company that was created by Barry and his colleagues in order to, ultimately seed a whole bunch of crypto companies, back a whole bunch of startups, and help with token launches across a wide number of blockchains. Okay. Again, the big focus and the big win for Barry and DCG being the Bitcoin investments made from a very early stage. And if we jump over to Grayscale, again, Grayscale was the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust that they began all the way back in, I think, 2016, 2017 to begin accumulating Bitcoin on behalf of institutional investors in the form of a trust. And again, they've expanded to create a whole bunch of ETF and ETP products over the past number of years. Again, the Grayscale Ethereum Mini Trust, you've got the Grayscale Bitcoin Mini Trust ETF as well. You've got Grayscale Bitcoin Miners ETF, the Grayscale Bitcoin Covered Call ETF. So they've built out a whole bunch of different institutional products over the past few years as the entire business has become more successful. And obviously, as Bitcoin has continued to improve and increase in value. Again, Barry is a very well-known figure in the Bitcoin world. And with everything that's been happening over the past decade and a half with many of his investment and business decisions, he is estimated to be having a net worth of somewhere in the region of $3.2 billion. So he is obviously someone who knows what he's talking about when it comes to technology being at the frontier of the intersection of digital currency and, of course, everything happening in Bitcoin and crypto. And now what we're seeing is Barry and Grayscale, along with DCG, making a move in towards creating different products in the BitTensor TAO ecosystem. Barry is on the record stating that he sees AI and artificial intelligence as the next stepping stone after Bitcoin. You can check out many different interviews with Barry on YouTube. He had a very good interview with Raoul Pal very recently on Raoul's channel. You can check that out. I might try to leave a link for that in the description, but you can just search it on YouTube yourself. And what we saw over the past few months is the launch of the Grayscale BitTensor Trust. And again, I know they've got the Bitcoin Trust, they've got the Ethereum Trust, they've even got a SUI Trust. But the point I'm making here is that they don't create these trusts for just any token. They have to have a high degree of conviction in what they're doing with creating these different trusts for capital and institutional money to flow into them. And of course, Barry making a decision to create a BitTensor trust for Grayscale means that he's putting a lot of weight behind this particular protocol and this network and everything that's happening on the subnets. So as you can see, the investment objective for the Grayscale BitTensor Trust is one of the first investment vehicles that enables investors to gain exposure to the token underlying the BitTensor platform, which is TAO. Many of you watching this video are very, very, very familiar with it, but that wasn't enough for Barry to get deep into the weeds with TAO. The Grayscale BitTensor Trust was not enough. And so if we cast our minds back to Q4 of 2024, what he actually did as well was created this company called Yuma, again, essentially named after the consensus mechanism that the BitTensor network uses, the Yuma consensus. They have created Yuma, a DCG company under the Digital Currency Group brand. And you can see that the whole point of Yuma is to accelerate decentralized intelligence. And they're doing that essentially by incubating and working with different subnets within the BitTensor ecosystem. So this is essentially like an incubator / accelerator and investor for capital injection into the various subnets on the BitTensor TAO ecosystem. Again, if I scroll down here, you can see Yuma powers transformative projects on BitTensor that will reshape our futures. In Yuma investments, builds, scales, and computational infrastructure in the BitTensor ecosystem. They're an accelerator for research, teams, and entrepreneurs seeking competitive alternative to closed artificial intelligence systems. And this is the big thing I've been talking about on the channel for the past few months with BitTensor. It is an open source, decentralized intelligence protocol that is acting as a competitor to centralized AI counterparties, just like OpenAI, ChatGPT, Claude, Google Gemini, etc. We're moving into a world where we're going to be seeing decentralized networks, just like BitTensor, acting as a true competitor with the subnet ecosystem to centralized AI counterparties. Okay, Yuma is dedicated to essentially furthering that vision, helping subnets to expand and grow within the TAO ecosystem. And if I jump over to X here, you can see Yuma has an X account that posts a lot of very insightful content about different subnets and the subnets that they are directly invested in. We can see they're invested in Precog Subnet 55, Sturdy Subnet 10, Score Subnet 44, Dippy Search Subnet 58, Red Team Subnet 51. I'm just listing off a few of these here in the list very quickly. The point I'm making is that with someone like Barry, who was able to catch Bitcoin so early, all the way back in 2012, rode the wave and was ultimately very responsible for the proliferation and the adoption of Bitcoin and its network during the period 2015 through 2020, he has now pivoted to create Grayscale BitTensor Trust along with Yuma, a company literally investing in and incubating different subnet protocols on the BitTensor network. I think you can see the point that I'm making. I'm steering you towards an understanding from someone who has essentially made a living from executing the growth of these different decentralized protocols over the past decade and a half, and even further back behind that as well. So he's a very intelligent individual, and I think it's worth paying attention to the moves that he's making when it comes to BitTensor and some of the investments where he is placing his money. Okay, I'm hoping this is making sense, guys. Again, that is the main point I wanted to communicate here in this video. I will leave a link for yumaai.com in the description below this video. You can check it out for yourself. They do have a list of full subnets that they're invested in at the bottom of the screen here on their homepage. You can check out Sturdy, Infinite Games, dive deeper into all of those individual subnets and how Yuma is backing them specifically. Remember, guys, today's video is also sponsored by BitUnix, a non-KYC global crypto derivatives exchange. You can use leverage over here for trading derivatives. Again, it is non-KYC, so for those of you who are more privacy-oriented, it might be interesting for you to check out BitUnix. Use the description or use the link in the description below this video to check that out and learn more about it. That's it for today's video, guys. I wanted to give you the inside scoop on Digital Currency Group, Grayscale Investments, and the Grayscale BitTensor Trust, along with Yuma, all coming from that source, Barry Silbert, and the genius that made those investments all the way back in 2012 when Bitcoin was in its infancy. Take from it what you will. Again, this is not financial advice. Always do your own research. Check out what's happening on the charts and with the fundamentals, guys. That is it for today's video, guys. As always, if you got any value out of this BitTensor TAO content, please, just before you jump out the door, make sure to smash a thumbs up on the video, hit subscribe, hit that bell notification icon. And again, you've got a completely free copy of The Rise of Bitcoin linked below the video in the description. Grab it down below and we'll catch you in the next one.